morning, YouTube. Today, we're going to be talking about the North Face Vective Enduris. One of their three new line of trail running shoes that came out this year. And this is their entry-level trail running shoe, max cushion, with a plastic plate, not a carbon plate. So before we get started, a couple things I wanted to talk about. One, just throwing a shout out to Grounds and Hounds Coffee. They make some of the best coffee that I've tasted. If you like dark roasts, they have some phenomenal dark roasts. I also have their espresso roast, which is pretty awesome as well. So just wanted to throw a shout out to these guys. I'm not sponsored by them, but I love their cause. I love that their proceeds go to animal shelters to help prevent kill shelters and hopefully keep dogs alive. So just throwing a shout out to them. The other thing I wanted to talk about, just so I could provide some structure for when I'm doing shoe reviews, is that I'm now going to be using a 5-star rating based on 5 categories. So the 5 categories are upper fit. So that means, how does it fit your foot? Does it give you toe room? Do you have a little bit of room to display? If it's a racing type shoe, does it give you a nice snug fit? That includes the lockdown. And then the next category is upper feel. So is it breathable? Is it comfortable? Is it something that you want to keep on your foot while you're out there putting in the miles? Next is the midsole. How is the feel? Is it cushioned? Is it responsive? Is it doing what it's advertised to do? Not necessarily what I like the most, but does it perform as advertised? Next is the outsole. How does it perform? How does it give you grip? Does it do what it's supposed to do? And then finally is price. So value for the money. Are you getting what you're paying for the shoe? So I am going to be knocking out 2 videos today. I don't know if I'll get them published on the same day, but I do apologize if you see me wearing the same clothes in 2 videos. It just means that I'm catching up on some of the videos I needed to get done. So let's get started with the North Face Vective Enduris. I've had a chance to run in this thing probably 7 or 8 times now. Good enough that I have a good idea of how I feel about the shoe. So just going over some of the stats. First, in a size 9, these come in at 11.1 ounces. So this is definitely along the lines of a daily trainer, not necessarily a race shoe. It has a 38mm stack height in the heel and a 32mm stack height in the forefoot, which gives you that 6mm drop, which for a lot of people is that sweet spot. It is not available in a wide width. I do like a wide width shoe. I will tell you though, that in the toe box area, these are actually very accommodating. I was actually able to wear some darn tough running socks, which are not the thinnest, and my foot still felt good in them. So these are very accommodating. It has an air mesh upper, so I can tell you that from a breathability standpoint, these are very breathable. Probably just breathable enough. Not so breathable that on a cold winter day, your foot is going to be freezing. But also at the same time, not in the summer that your foot's going to be sweating to death. So they're breathable enough and comfortable enough from that standpoint. These do have the new North Face technology Vective Midsole, which is designed to give cushion but also energy return. And this has the TPU plastic plate, whereas the Infinite and then the Vective Enduris, they have, it's a kind of a mixed composition plate in the mid-level Infinite, and then the Vective Enduris, the race shoe, that's a carbon plate. The plate does help with stability, and also even though it's just a plastic plate, it does help, I think, with the energy return as well. And then the outsole has a really nice tacky grip to it. So these are, I believe they're 3.5 or 4 millimeter lugs. But I will tell you, these perform pretty well. They are tacky. They give you good grip. I don't know that you could run these in the most technical trails, but I would imagine for most of the trails people are running, whether it's buffed out, packed down, even some roots, some rocks, things like that, I think these are going to perform pretty well across the board. And then these also come in at $138.95. Again, at the lower level of their 3 shoes in this Vective lineup. Now, getting a little bit more into the upper, the heel cup is fairly sturdy. It doesn't have that hard, not like the Saucony Endorphin Shift, where it has that really hard plastic overlay. But it does have plenty of rigidity to keep you locked in. This does have a tongue. It is not gusseted, but I have not had any issues with it slipping and sliding all over the place. It's packed in pretty well. It does have the little notch in it for your laces to go through, which I think helps a little bit too. From a lockdown perspective, these I feel like my feet fit in them, and even though I have some accommodation in the front for my toes to splay out a little bit, I feel locked in, my foot's not slipping. And then on top of it, you got this nice overlay in the front, which gives you a little bit of toe protection for when you kick a rock or roots or something along those lines. From the midsole area, I would say these perform as advertised. The plastic plate, if you've ever run in a carbon plated shoe, a lot of them you can feel the carbon plate. You can notice it changing your foot stride or your gait. This you don't. But I will tell you, these have a nice cushion feel to them, but they also have some really nice energy return. These have kind of been my go-to running shoe for when I'm going on any kind of trail, anything not road. These have been my go-to lately. I've been really happy with them, and they are, I'd say, one of my favorite trail running shoes as of late. And then again, as I said with the outsole, they grip nicely. It would be nice to probably see a little bit more on the grip, maybe so you could go on some more technical trails. But again, I think these perform admirably. So when you go through on the rating scale, from an upper fit, I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Again, it locks down nicely. It gives you some room to splay your toes. You don't feel totally squished. But it got you in place enough that you feel comfortable kind of picking up the pace a little bit. And you can go a lot of miles, obviously, in these as well. So 4 out of 5 stars for upper fit. For upper feel, breathable, nice padding in the heel cup and on the tongue. This is, I think, a really comfortable shoe, and a shoe that kind of matches its midsole from the perspective of it gives you that max cushion, so you put a lot of miles in it. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. It gives you that max cushion so you can go a lot of miles, and the upper is comfortable enough that you want to stay in it for a lot of miles. Midsole, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I love the midsole. I think it gives you just the right amount of cushion and energy return, but it doesn't change your gait, so it makes you feel like you have to pick up the pace, where sometimes you get these shoes with different plates in them, and when you run slow, they don't feel right. They only feel good when you pick up the pace. Outsole, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I thought, again, I think 3 out of 5 is an average score. I think they perform really well. We'll see from a durability standpoint how long they last. But in the miles that I have in these now currently, I'm noticing very little wear. So I think that these will go the distance. And then for price, for $138, compared to the Hoka's, which have a lot of similar technologies with the rocker technologies and the high stack height, the nice breathable uppers. Again, I think that's really their contender here. I think that price is pretty reasonable, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think from a durability standpoint, other than being a little dirty, these are holding up really well. So I think these will go the distance for you. I think you can get 400 or 500 miles out of these shoes, and I think at the same time, I think value for the money, that's a really sweet spot for a really fun trail running shoe. So when you take that, that gives you a 19 out of 25 total, which gives it a 3.8 stars out of 5, which I think is a really solid score. In my opinion, anything above a 3.5 is really good. So overall, I am extremely happy with this shoe. It will remain probably one of my go-tos in the trail running lineup. And we'll see how it goes. If you've run in these shoes or you have any feedback on them, I'd love to hear about them down in the comments. Again, I appreciate you guys watching, following along, and as always, stay healthy, find your happy, and seek to inspire. I'll talk to everybody soon. Thanks again.